Hello, my crafty friends. Well, today I have another fun and simple template that I want to share with you to help you create 8 cards from one sheet of 12 by 12 inch pattern paper. Hi, it's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. In this episode of Stamptastic TV, I have another one sheet wonder template to share with you. And this particular template enables you to create 8 cards from one 12 by 12 inch piece of pattern paper. So if you tend to make multiples of the same card, this is the perfect template for you. Now, the cards in this video feature the Notes of Nature bundle from Stampin Up. So this particular bundle has a stamp set and a coordinating die set. And I am also using just one of the pattern papers from the Nature's Sweetness Designer Series paper pack. You can really use any designer paper and any supplies that you have on hand to create these cards with this template. Okay, so this is just a 12 by 12 inch piece of pattern paper. You can use whatever pattern paper you have on hand. You want to make sure that when you put this in your paper trimmer, that you put it in so that the pattern runs this direction. So I'm going to be cutting, a 5.5 inch section. So I want to make sure my pattern is not upside down when I'm cutting it. So you just put it in and you place this at the 5.5 inch mark. So the first cut we're going to make is at 5.5 inches. And then we'll just scoot this up and do another 5.5 inches. So you will have 2 pieces that are 5.5 by 12 inches. And then you have this little 1 inch piece here. I'm just going to flip it over and I'm going to actually just cut this in half. So the piece will end up being 1/2 by 12 inches. So I'll have 2 of them. So since we have these pieces here, let's cut these first. We're going to cut these down to 3 inches. So we're going to create 8 pieces that are 3 inches long and they are 1/2 inch wide. All right, so we have all 8 pieces. All right, so now we are going to take those other 2 pieces. So these pieces are 5.5 inches wide and they're 12 inches long. And we're going to cut these down to 3 inch in width. So it'll be 5.5 inches long, it'll be 3 inches wide. So you're going to create 8 of these pieces. So you will get 4 from each of the pieces of designer paper that we cut up. So there's the first 4. And then here are the last 4. All right, so these are the pieces that we have once we cut up that entire 12 by 12 inch piece of designer paper. So we have 8 pieces, which are 3 inches long and they're 1/2 inch wide. So that's just the back side of this paper. And then we also have 8 pieces, which are 3 by 5.5 inches. So those are the pieces we will use to create the 8 cards. Now, I like to prep all my supplies first before I get started creating. So I've cut all my paper. Now I have all my card bases. I am just using pecan pie, and that is simply because it coordinates with the colors in my designer paper. So I have 8 card bases already created. And I also created a little greeting for the cards. So I simply cut a 3/4 by 2.5 inch piece of white cardstock. It was a perfect size for my little greeting. So I have 8 of those all ready to go. And then with this particular bundle, there's a fun little die in here. So I cut 8 of these little leaf sprays that I will use to decorate my cards. And again, you can use whatever supplies you have on hand to add your greetings or to do the decorating. All right, so let me show you how to make the cards. Okay, so the concept for creating all 8 cards is the same, so I'm just going to walk you through how to put together the cards once you have prepped all your supplies and your paper. So we are going to start by adhering our 3 by 5.5 inch piece. So you're basically running this right down the center of the card front. The next thing we're going to do is just take that 1/2 inch wide piece, so it's the exact same length or width as this piece, so it's 3 inches long. And we're just going to adhere this kind of towards the bottom of this designer paper. So this is just a great way to use up the entire sheet of designer paper and add just a little bit of accent on the front of the card. Next, I just took my little greeting, added some dimensionals to the back, and then I just popped this up on the bottom so it overlapped that piece of designer paper that I added, so it kind of draws attention to it. Then I took my little die cut shape and just kind of tucked it underneath the greeting so that it was off to the side. I added a little bit of liquid glue on there, and then that is the basic design for this card. Now you can leave it as is, or you can add some linen thread to kind of dress it up. And I also added a couple of the iridescent gold foil gems. And again, you can use any supplies you have on hand to create 8 cards with this One Sheet Wonder template. Okay, so there you go. Now you have a very simple One Sheet Wonder template that you can use with any supplies you have on hand to create 8 cards. And if you enjoyed these card ideas, feel free to download the printable tutorial. You can find the link in the description below this video. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know by liking it and sharing it with your friends. And leave me a comment below to let me know what you enjoyed most about the video and the cards shared here today. Have a fun and creative day, my friends. Take care.